I'm Stacy. This is Walking in My Shoes, and we are loving my veteran this morning. You sip coffee here as we get our day started. I know I'm going to love the background changes all the time, but I'm at my mother's celebrating Thanksgiving with my mom, which is the little things in life that we're thankful for. So, as we start into Thanksgiving week and things that we're thankful for, I decided that that would be kind of today's topic. It's finding thankfulness in the most inopportune or places we're not necessarily looking for. We have so much to be thankful for, and in 2020, um, I'm almost afraid to go into 2021 because I'm afraid that 2020 is going to tell 2021 to hold my beer and watch this, because this has been a very interesting year, and there's a lot of things that people talk about in the negative and what we're not thankful for, and then not, this has been tough, and this has been all this stuff going on. And when I was sitting here talking to my mom yesterday, I said, I can't believe they canceled the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. I'm not even going to know how to do Christmas because a memory had popped up on my Facebook page that talked about the Macy's Parade. And it was like, oh, I'd watched it for 52 years. And here's going to be year 54. And I'm not going to see Santa Claus come and get off the thing. So I'm not even sure how Christmas season's going to start, but it's going to start with or without it. And that kind of reminded me of my all-time favorite Christmas story, which is The Grinch That Stole Christmas, and how the Who's in Whoville didn't care. It wasn't about all the stuff. So that's going to kind of lead me into where we're thankful for, and thankful for place stuff that we don't necessarily know at the time, but it comes out that we become incredibly thankful for. Last week and the week before, we were talking about writing our stories, and we put that on our group page about what is your story? If you had to say, what is your story, what would it be? Well, today I'm thankful for my story. And my story starts out in Savannah in the heat of the summer. It was horrifically hot. And we get a call from the ambulance to go pick up a guy whose skin was itchy. And we're meeting them in the parking lot of a strip mall. Well, when we get there, PD's already on scene, and they're like, It's the homeless guy. We're sorry, but he says his skin itches, he needs to go somewhere." And there's a lot of homeless there, and so people are like, eh. So we get the guy in the ambulance, and I'm riding in the back with him, and we're not far from the hospital, and I'm starting to talk to this gentleman. And please understand, heat of Savannah, okay, probably 100 plus degrees. This man is homeless and has not had a bath in a very long time. So needless to say, the back of the ambulance doesn't smell the most attractive. Okay. And as I'm getting his story in the few mile ride to the hospital, we're talking about his skin itching and what he had done, and having a conversation. And he starts to cry and he says, I really just want a bath. And it just hit me. And as we're talking, he explains that he was a veteran, combat veteran, that his marriage had fallen apart. He had lost his job due to his PTSD. He couldn't provide for his family anymore, and he ended up on the streets. And here is a man who fought in Iraq, whose skin is itching, and this is not who he was. So when we called the hospital and gave report, I said, his vital signs are stable. I said, but what he really wants is a bath. Can we do that for him? And if you take the decon room, which is a room off the side of the hospital where if we would have gotten exposed to something, we could take a shower. Can y'all give me some shampoo and stuff and towels, and let's give this man a bath? And the triage nurse came in and said that was acceptable. So I gave this man a bath. And at the time, I wasn't incredibly thankful. I mean, let's be honest, it wasn't the best smell, it wasn't the best ride, it wasn't the best anything. But I gave this man a bath, and as we're doing it, the tears again rolled down his face, and he said, "Thank you. Thank you for caring about me. It's the first time somebody's cared about me in a very long time." And we kind of laugh about it now because at the end he proposed to me, which I thought was great. But that wasn't it. He was so thankful for somebody giving him a bath. And at that time, I didn't realize that that was going to become the beginning of my story in loving my veteran and how we came to be. Here was this man in the most inopportune place in a 100-degree day on the streets that just wanted a bath. And so as my rest of the year went on, and then of course, everybody knows that I stopped working in January due to some issues with my own health. I thought my life was over. My career was over. Everything I'd ever done was over, and I wasn't very thankful. I was like, oh, um, I had Carl in my life, and I cannot begin to explain how thankful I am for him. And Jeremy, when we all sat at my mom's, and my mom said it was in the middle of COVID, and they had quarantined, and we had quarantined, and I had been to my mom's a few times because we knew we weren't near each other. And she finally felt comfortable enough to let somebody else come up, and it was Jeremy and his family. And that's when we sat out on the porch and started talking about loving my veteran and how it should come to be. So, in the middle of all of this stuff that goes on in our life, in all of the tragedies that we think we have, and all of the inconveniences that we think there are little things to be thankful for. Had it not have been for that homeless veteran on the streets of Savannah, we wouldn't do what we're doing today. Had it not have been for that gentleman, we wouldn't do what we do today. Had it not have been for me not being able to be on an ambulance, we wouldn't do what we do today. Had it not have been for my mom feeling comfortable enough during the COVID quarantine to let Jeremy and his family come, we wouldn't do what we do today. Had it not have been for Carl, who said, "Your life matters to me and I'm going to take care of you," we wouldn't do what we do today. So, in the middle of all of the crises and all of the stuff and all of the inconveniences, we have so many little things to be thankful for. And those little things add up to big things. And we just need to take time sometime to take a step back and say, wow, it's all these little things that made me thankful. All these little things have turned into good things. What we do here isn't about me, and it isn't about what we can do. It is about forming a community. And those of you who watch regularly, you have been so inspiring and uplifting to me and to Carl and to Jeremy and to others in this community that we have formed. We are thankful for you. And we all came together because we were all feeling that we just needed something else. We all came together because we were dealing with the crisis of PTSD. We all came together at some of our lowest moments. But look at what we've become together: a community of thankfulness, a community who uplifts and supports each other. And y'all, please say a prayer for Michelle and Damon. I get a text from her last night that the heat exchange above them and the apartment above them ruptured, and everything in their apartment is flooded. But being able to have that time where Michelle can text me and say, "This is my crisis," and me being able to talk to her, or or when I have a crisis, being able to reach out to somebody and talk to them. Those are our moments of thankfulness. It's those things that we didn't realize along the way that create our thankfulness. So being thankful, you find it in the weirdest places. I mean, think about COVID and what COVID has done for all of us. It's created a lot of turmoil in a lot of lives. It's distanced us in places we didn't know that we could be distanced from. But it's given us so much to be thankful for in the little things. And again, I go back and I know I've shared this story before, but March started, everybody was locked down. And we had quarantined, and my mother quarantined, and she lives alone. And we decided to come up for Mother's Day. And we came a day early, so we were actually here on Mother's Day. But being able to walk in her house and touch my mom and hug my mom, I was so incredibly thankful. And I was thankful for the fact that she followed the quarantine stuff and we followed the quarantine stuff. So we were isolated and I could spend that time with her. And that was her first human touch in months. And I don't think we realize the importance of that kind of thankfulness. We don't realize that along the way in our life, we have this. Those of you who dealing with your veterans and their mood swings and their struggles and the stuff that we go through, do you know how thankful we are for you? Do you know how thankful, even though your veteran may not show it, that he is for you or she is for you? Do you realize how thankful you're still with them? You're still looking for that avenue to help them. You're still looking to enrich your life with them. That's the thankfulness. That's the struggle that we deal with. And it's the little moments. You know, so many of these of support groups are so negative, and it's like, da 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 da. I watch y'all come on and talk about your empowering moments with them. One day we posted a thing in the group that said, "What are you thankful for?" And what about your veteran is good? Tell me the good. And it was, they have a big heart, they are kind, they are loving, they are this. So in amongst all of the PTSD moments that happen, you guys took a moment to look for your thankfulness in your veteran. And it's all those moments of thankfulness that create love and care and compassion. We have so much in our life that is negative, and so much gets poured into us that is negative, that when we turn our story around and become positive, our lives become more positive. We set the tone. Is there negative in the world? Every single day? Turn on the TV, watch it, it's full of it. Is the negative in our life every single day? Yes. But when we change our tone and we change our outlook, then we become more positive. And then we start looking for the things in life we're thankful for, the little things in life that we're thankful for, the things that really matter that we're thankful for. I think about Natalie on a regular basis with the little kids, right? And she's got the three little babies running around, and she's in school, and she's working, and she has a husband that's a police officer and that he's a veteran. But you know what I'm thankful for? And we watched it with her on Thursday nights when she pops in with us. Those kids climb up in her lap and love her and kiss her. And I am so thankful to see that. So amongst all the bad moments, she gets those love and those kisses from those babies. And those are the good moments. Those are the thankfulness moments. It may drive you crazy, but I will tell you, if you have little kids, please enjoy them. Because this weekend, my 30-some-year-old son was with us. And all of a sudden, I realized he's not a baby climbing in my lap saying, "Mama, I love you." So be thankful for those moments because they go away way too fast. Be thankful for the good moments because they go away way too fast. And I equate that back to childbirth. And all you women out there will understand. If you've ever had a baby, when that moment of labor is coming along, you're like, no, I will never have another one. And people will tell you that that pains, that you don't remember that pain, and you end up having another or wanting another, but that moment goes away. I was like, no, because my mom is sitting in this room, and I'm sure that if she had a moment to attest to this, she would say absolutely. With my first son, I was the most horrific patient ever. Don't touch me. I want this. I want to go home. I didn't care if David was in or out. I was going home. I was hateful to everybody in that room with me. And when Seth came along, I even said please and thank you when I needed something. But you do have those moments of where you just think you can't go on, but then they hand you that precious baby, and you're looking at him, and you're like, thank God for this baby. Thank God for this baby. And David was one of the greatest babies ever. He never had his days and nights mixed up. From the time he came home, he would sleep like from 11:30 at night to 5:30 in the morning. You know, no parent ever has that. I was so thankful. And then comes his brother, whose days and nights were completely backwards, and that child never slept. And I was thankful at that point for my parents and my Aunt Sharon, who would come and get him for a night or two so that I could have a whole night's sleep. But it's all of those moments in our life that make us thankful. It's the little stuff that makes us thankful. It's that moment that our veteran says, I love you, that makes us thankful. It's the day that we get through the dinner without an episode that we're thankful for. It's the time that we get to spend cuddled up on the couch next to them watching TV that we're thankful for. It's all of the things in amongst the PTSD that we become thankful for, and that defines our story. Our story is how we find that we can overcome and be the strong women that we know we are. That's our story. You don't get a story if there's not sadness or tragedy. Because if we were all up at the top level, if we were all spending a life without any negativity, we wouldn't know to be thankful for anything because we've only had the good. It's the bad moments that make us thankful for the good. And I know that sounds very strange, but if you don't experience the bad, how do you know what good is? If you don't experience the struggles, how do you know what good moments are? If you don't experience the lowness, how do you know what the triumph is? You have to have that back and forth. When we did our stories and I asked you guys to list your strengths, and then it was list your weaknesses. And if you looked at your weaknesses, they were the exact opposite of your strengths. And they happen when we are tired, when we are emotionally when we are frustrated, when we are sad, when we are at the worst of hungry, even spiritually hungry, emotionally hungry. So we can be caring, loving, compassionate. And then when we just have had enough, we are no longer caring, loving, and compassionate. We become bitter, and we become resentful, and we become jaded a lot of times. And we see that with our better. We see that when we talk about the negatives that they go through and our negativity with them. I am so tired of, I am so frustrated of. It is always the opposite of what our strengths are because we become so tired. Because the core of you will always stay the same. The core of who you are, caring, compassionate, loving, whatever your strengths were, are always going to stay the same. But when you are overtired, overtaxed, overexhausted, over hungry, over whatever, the negative shows up because your core is always the same. So be thankful for your strengths because the great part about them is your strengths, the opposite is your weaknesses. So when you are at your weakest, you know that when you get rest, And when you refuel your fire, and that when you get spiritually better, whether it's taking 5 minutes out away from the world and what's going on, that you're going to rejuvenate and your strengths are going to come back because you have them in you. That is your thankfulness. That is your story. Your compassion and your love and your devotion, or whatever your strength may be, is always in you. It doesn't go away. It just gets, when we get emotionally and physically tired, it just flips to the weaknesses, which is the opposite. So, how do you get rid of your weaknesses and turn them into strengths? You rejuvenate yourself. So be thankful that your weaknesses are the opposites of your strength, because now we know that with a little rejuvenation, with 5 minutes alone, with coming and spending an evening, I literally sat in a chair with mom and we watched TV. And I don't even know what we really talked about because it wasn't all that important, but it was spending time in the presence of my mom and realizing that my mother is still here for me to spend that time with her, that lets me rejuvenate and find my strength.
Glad you don't remember. I told you I wrote you out of the will.
Oh, she wrote me out of the will again. Well, that's great because we do this. Her whole will's in dry erase, so whatever is there at the time of her death is in dry erase, and that's what it is. She gets pleasure out of that. So we look for our peace, and that's where we find it, wherever it may be, wherever that moment of rejuvenation is. And it's funny because, or sad maybe is a better word. I carried a lot of bitterness and jealousy and resentment for a very long time. Probably most of my 54 years. Mom's probably sitting over there shaking her head. She's getting whiplash, okay, from shaking her head. Yes. I carried that with me for a very long time. And it was because I was angry and bitter and resentful because I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy in who I was. And when I refueled that and when I found my happiness, guess what happened to the bitterness, the resentment, the jealousy, and the anger? It all started to go away. I had to find my happiness, and that's in my story. It's not in somebody else. You're not going to find your happiness in somebody else. You're going to find your happiness in yourself when you find time for you, when you make time for you. And trust me, it's not easy. And y'all are saying like I barely have time to do the dishes, okay? Because I'm doing this for my veteran, I'm doing that, I'm dealing with doctor's appointments, I work, I'm dealing with his mood swings. I get it. You know what? Those dishes will be there tomorrow if it gives you 5 minutes of happiness in taking a shower or reading a book or sitting on the porch or looking at the scenery or taking 5 minutes. Those dishes will be there. Your kids don't have to have bacon and eggs for breakfast. Captain Crunch works really well. I can remember a story of a very successful businessman, and him and his wife were talking about how they got there. And she said she probably would have lost Mother of the Year award because she fed her kids Doritos for breakfast while they were working in strength, because mornings were the best time for them to work together. And they would be talking about their day and some of the stuff, and the kids were like, I'm hungry now. And instead of getting up and fixing them normal breakfast, she literally handed them a bag of Doritos and said, Here. And they spent their few 20 or 30 minutes, and then she would go back and talk to the kids, but they spent their time together. And that's okay if your kids eat Doritos for breakfast for a little bit. Re-strengthen yourself. It's okay if you don't have a full sit down meal for dinner every night. Sandwiches are good and they do work, and a lot of us grew up on peanut butter and jelly or a sandwich on occasion, and it's okay. We don't have to be perfect, we have to be happy. Those are where you find your thankfulness. When you learn to be happy and not perfect, you become thankful for so many things in your life. And you become thankful, you become happy. Everything we live in is a circle, it's a balance of where we're at. So today I'm telling you, I am thankful for you. I am thankful for all of you, for those of you that support each other and us. You guys are my strength. You doing this, had I not have had all of those things that could have been very negative in my life, from the homeless man to the not being able to work, all that very negative in my life, we never would have formed Loving My Better. And you guys have been my strength. You guys have been my support when I couldn't find it anywhere else. Yeah, happiness is going to cure all those perfectionisms. You got to learn to be happy. You don't have to be perfect. You just got to be happy. And you're going to find happiness from thankfulness. And you're going to find thankfulness in places you never knew it was possible. I can remember when Carl and I were early into this, and I didn't comprehend PTSD at the level I do now. And so I've realized that I didn't realize at the time that I was triggering him. Okay, so did the PTSD go away? No. But me learning enough about it to learn to not trigger him all the time did. And you know what? I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for that level because that's created happiness in us. And you're going to find that too when you wake up in the morning, right? And you're exhausted because you've had a bad day with your veteran or PTSD or life or whatever. But if you wake up that morning and the next morning and you take that same attitude with you the next morning, you're going to set the mood for the next day. So if you wake up with negativity in you and you wake up with bitterness and resentment and whatever, and you already assume that the next day is going to be a bad day, you're already setting yourself up for failure. You have to be happy every day. I know that my mom and I joke around and some of us joke around. And any day that we get up out of bed and we're on this side of the dirt, we're happy. We're looking for the blessing in that. We're like, hello, yay, blessing. Okay. So take your blessings. Enjoy those moments of happiness. That's going to create your thing. When Carl and I have our moments, yeah, I'm like, you need to go to bed or whatever, because it's like a reset button. When you wake up the next day, you get to reset and go on. But that reset didn't always happen for us because I would go to bed angry or frustrated about the day. And I would wake up in the morning with that same level of frustration in my brain, like, I can't believe we went through this yesterday and this, and I don't want this day to be the way. So I automatically set the mood for that. And when I learned not to do that anymore, things became different. And you go back through your life and you look at all these things. My grandmother used to say, don't ever go to bed angry. Don't ever go to bed angry. I can remember her saying that over and over and over again. Don't ever go to bed angry. And now I understand why. Because when you go to bed angry, you wake up angry. So look at all your moments of things that you learn in your life about thankfulness and happiness. I am so thankful that my grandmother said that over and over to me. I didn't even know what it meant at the time, but I do now. It means I don't care if we're having an argument. I don't care what we have going on. Carl made a very clear rule with us. Our bedroom is a safe zone for us. I don't care. We can disagree like cats and dogs and be totally at each other. But when we walk into that bedroom, we don't talk about it. That allows us to go to bed not angry. And that allows us to wake up fresh. Am I too? Yeah, you have to understand this on this journey. You have to you got to get through this. and waking up carrying all the negativity with us is so hard sometimes. Let it go. Find your happiness. Find your thankfulness in every little thing. Do we still have PTSD fights? Yes, we do. But you know what? We've gone from all day slamming things around, whatever the case may be, to the fact that we can see it coming in the middle of the argument and stop and say, sit down and calm down and let's talk about this. And you're like, that's a victory. That's a thankfulness moment. Learning to evolve is a thankfulness moment. Thankful. What are we thankful for? What are we thankful for today? What are we thankful for from yesterday? Take your story, make your story matter. I'm going to write my story today and I'm going to put it out on a group. And I encourage each of you that have worked through your story, if you want to share your story because your stories are empowering and they're uplifting and they show your strengths, the things we need to be thankful for. We find thankfulness in the most inopportune places. We find our thankfulness when we least expect it. And sometimes we don't see our thankfulness at the moment, we see it later. I'm thankful for my grandmother for always saying, don't go to bed angry. I didn't know what it meant when I was like 10. I do now. I'm thankful for my mom who's always been here for me and loved me when I was completely unlovable, but she loved me anyway. I am thankful for my veteran who loves me every minute of every day, even when he's so mad at me he can't stand it, but he loves me. I am thankful for the wonderful experience I had with a homeless veteran who just won. That's my story. Those are my moments of thankfulness. I'm very thankful that my favorite Christmas story ever is The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, because I assure you that my happiness in Christmas is not going to be watching Santa get off the float at the Macy's parade. It's going to be spending this season of thankfulness and thanksgiving and joy and happiness with the person I love more than anybody in this world, and making our memories today together that are different. There's a lot going on this week, a lot of time to be thankful. You know, we'll do walking in my shoes um, Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll not be doing it on Thursday. We're going to spend our Thanksgiving together. We'll do a little Friday stuff. And if you look at the website, the Facebook page this week, I'm going to be posting some incredible shopping experiences that are from veteran supported businesses or veteran owned businesses. Please, if you're going to shop, and you're not going out and shop from these people who are wonderful, wonderful companies, just giving you a whole set to look at and do. Tomorrow, um, we're going to talk about holidays and depression and what we can do to get through the holidays and the depression that sets in, and not just with veterans, it sets in with us too. But let's talk about that and some avenues and outlooks and places and things that we can reach out to and changes that we may be able to make that we didn't think about before. If any of you have successes and how you get through your holidays with your veteran, please post them so that we can start in the group page so that we can pull from that information from our community, or y'all can message me, because I think it's important that we all go out as a community with all the tools that we need. Um, Later today, I will be doing my reach video for the reach challenge, and I will post more about that. I encourage all of y'all to get out and do 2 minute or less video on Reach. You'll see that today. It will be incredible what they're doing. We're going to flood Facebook with reaching out and getting help and how to do that, and other social media avenues, because we need people to learn that they're not alone in this journey in life, regardless of their background, that they're not alone. It has been an incredible day. I'm blessed to be at my mom's. I'm leaving. I'm going to be here for another day and then I'm leaving. So you'll get the same background tomorrow. Y'all have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. There'll be a lot more popping up on the page today. I'm actually going to work. What a concept. I'm blessed to have you all in my lives. I'm Stacy. This is Walking in My Shoes, and we are loving my veteran. Have a great day.